I just love when powerful women in pop music collaborate. There's just something so special about it. Something about it has always felt like an event to me, mostly because of how there's always been some unspoken competition between female artists. Fans, stands, tabloids, and even the music labels that back these women feed into this battle between music's finest divas in an effort to boost exposure, music sales, etc., etc. But some of my favorite moments in music are when these women throw all of that to the wayside in order to put their talents together to create something legendary. Let's go back to the late 1980s for a bit. Whitney Houston was one of the biggest female names in the industry at that point, being signed to Arista Records. Columbia Records sought to have their own female vocal powerhouse that could compete with the unstoppable vocal titan that Whitney was, and that powerhouse would be none other than Mariah Carey. The two of them had a rivalry similar of that to Michael Jackson and Prince, one that was mostly dredged up by the media and hearsay, and the two rarely, if ever, spoke about each other publicly. Fast forward almost 10 years later, and the two of them eventually teamed up for one of the greatest female duets in history, in my humble opinion, When You Believe, from the 1998 animated film The Prince of Egypt. During the recording of the duet, the two women became friends and continuously praised each other publicly, denying any speculation of animosity or rivalry between the two of them prior to them working together. Despite this, tabloids continued to write the complete opposite, spreading false narratives that the two of them couldn't stand each other and actually had to record separately due to tension between them. Whitney spoke about Mariah to Ebony magazine, saying, "I enjoyed working with her very much. Mariah and I got along very great. We had never talked and never sang together before. We just had a chance for camaraderie, singer to singer, artist to artist, that kind of thing. We just laughed and talked and laughed and talked and sang in between that. It's good to know that two ladies of soul can still be friends. We talked about doing other things together, enterprise-wise, which is cool because she's got a good, vivid mind, that girl. She's a smart lady. I really like Mariah." Despite being well received, as well as having heavy promotion as well as media attention, the duet between the two vocal powerhouses only managed to peak at number 15 on the Billboard Hot 100. It fared better overseas, particularly in Europe, and the song would eventually receive an Academy Award for Best Original Song at the 71st annual ceremony in 1999. Regardless of chart positions and accolades, When You Believe will always stand as one of the greatest female duets of all time. Of course, it's always nice when two prominent female artists come together for a collab and prove rumors of rivalry and animosity wrong. However, unfortunately, that's not always the case. Sometimes tension and dislike of one another, in addition to instigation by the media, can create friction. Sitting atop the Billboard Hot 100 for 13 weeks, Brandy and Monica's duet, The Boy Is Mine, was the best-selling song of 1998 in the US, beating out Whitney and Mariah's aforementioned duet that was released the same year. Originally written and recorded as a solo song by Brandy, it was eventually decided that the song would work better as a duet, taking inspiration from Michael Jackson's 1982 duet with Paul McCartney, The Girl Is Mine, from the former's Thriller album. It was actually Brandy's idea to reach out to Monica to collaborate on the song in order to combat rumors in the tabloids that the two young R&B singers were rivals. According to Rodney Darkchild Jerkins, who produced the song, the two singers in fact did not get along during the recording process, and the song had to be remixed a whopping 7 times in order to ensure that neither one of the girls sang more than the other. Despite the initial intention to do the song as a way to put rumors of a rivalry to rest, the song actually did the opposite due to its subject matter. It was later claimed that Monica was upset when Brandy performed the song solo during an appearance on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno. At the same time, Brandy was upset with Monica when the latter took the name of the duet and used it as the title for her second album. Things eventually became physical when a fight between the two artists broke out backstage during the 1998 MTV Video Music Awards. They would ultimately go on with their performance, however. In the many years since their duet, it's been made apparent that the beef between the two young R&B divas was more or less typical drama between two teenage girls that was heavily exacerbated by the tabloids. The two have been cordial to each other ever since. When it comes to women in music, no conversation would be complete without talking about one of the greatest female entertainers of all time, Beyonce. An artist of Beyonce's caliber is one who won't put her name on just any collaboration. I think it's fitting that Beyonce's collaborations with other women just so happen to be some of the most iconic female link-ups in music history. Perhaps her most famous female duet is Beautiful Liar, one of my personal favorites when it comes to this conversation. Written and recorded for the re-release of her second studio album, B-Day, the song is a duet with Shakira. The two women had met each other previously and were fans of each other's work, desiring to work together eventually. The song debuted at number 94 on the Billboard Hot 100 and skyrocketed up 91 spots the following week, becoming Beyonce's 9th top 10 single in the US. Shakira would later go on to collaborate with Rihanna in 2014 on Can't Remember to Forget You, the lead single from the former self-titled album. Rihanna actually doesn't have that many collaborations with girls as I thought before making this video. However, she and Nicki Minaj exchanged features back in 2010, with Rihanna providing vocals for Nicki's song Fly from the latter's debut album Pink Friday, while Nicki provided a verse for the song Raining Men on Rihanna's 5th studio album Loud. Consideration: the opening track from Rihanna's 8th studio album Anti featured a then not quite as well known SZA. Britney Spears has had her fair share of iconic female collaborations, one of my personal favorites being her collaboration with Rihanna on the remix of the latter song S&M. And then there's a criminally underrated Slumber Party remix featuring Tinashe. And we can't talk about iconic female collabs without including her 2003 duet with Madonna, Me Against the Music, which served as the lead single from her 4th studio album In the Zone. Britney played the song for Madonna and asked her to be on it during the rehearsals for the 2003 Video Music Awards. Yes, that one performance with the infamous kiss. Oh, and Christina Aguilera was there too. Just 2 years prior, Christina alongside Maya, Pink, and Lil' Kim all collaborated for a cover of the song Lady Marmalade for the accompanying soundtrack for the film Moulin Rouge. The song was a #1 hit in the US for 5 weeks, becoming the 9th song to reach #1 on 2 separate occasions by 2 separate music acts. The version of the song by the Patti LaBelle-led group LaBelle previously topped the charts back in 1974. Following their contributions to Lady Marmalade, Christina and Lil' Kim would work together again on Can't Hold Us Down, the 4th single from Christina's 2002 album Stripped. In 2010, Christina tapped a still fresh Nicki Minaj for a verse on the song Woohoo from her album Bionic. Christina and Demi Lovato would bring their very powerful voices together for the song Fall in Line from Christina's hidden gem of an album 2018's Liberation. Just a few short years after her duet with Shakira, Beyonce would tap Lady Gaga for a remix of her song Videophone from her 3rd studio album I Am Sasha Fierce. The two of them will collaborate again on Gaga's own song Telephone from her EP The Fame Monster just a year after that. Lady Gaga is another one of those artists that doesn't tend to collaborate all that often, but when she does, it's very intentional and generally a big deal. Having 2 songs with Beyonce just a little over a year into your career is nothing to scoff at. Gaga's 2016 album, Joanne, featured a duet with Florence Welch of Florence and the Machine titled Hey Girl. In 2020, Gaga released the massively successful Rain on Me, a duet with Ariana Grande, as a 2nd single from her 5th album, Chromatica. It debuted at #1 on the Hot 100, becoming Gaga's 5th and Ariana's 4th song to top the chart. This also made Ariana the first artist in history to have 4 songs debut at #1. Rain on Me was the 7th most streamed song of summer 2020, and its accompanying music video was nominated for a whopping 7 VMAs, winning 3 of them. The song also won a Grammy for Best Pop Duo Performance at the 63rd Grammy Awards. Rain on Me wasn't the only all-girl collab on Chromatica, however, as Gaga also teamed up with K-pop supergirl group Blackpink on the infectious Sour Candy. Ariana Grande has had more than a handful of notable collabs with a wide variety of ladies over the years. Bang Bang, the massively successful single with Jessie J and Nicki Minaj, marked Jessie J's 2nd, Ariana's 3rd, and Nicki's 10th top 10 single in the United States. It also became Ariana's 2nd consecutive top 10 hit of 2014, right after Problem, which peaked at #2 for 5 weeks, and coincidentally was another hit female collab featuring Iggy Azalea. Ariana and Nicki specifically have enough collabs together for me to make an entire video on its own. Following Bang Bang, Ariana would provide vocals for Nicki's song Get On Your Knees on the latter's 3rd studio album, The Pink Print. Later in 2018, the two of them would link up twice more on each other's songs, The Light Is Coming for Ariana's 4th album, Sweetener, and Bed for Nicki's 5th album, Queen. However, Nickiana wasn't finished quite yet, as they would collab once again a year later on the Charlie's Angels soundtrack on the song Bad to You, which also featured Normani. And I can't mention the Charlie's Angels soundtrack without bringing up the somewhat out of left field Don't Call Me Angel, featuring the trio of Ariana Grande, Miley Cyrus, and Lana Del Rey. Most recently in 2020, Ariana tapped Doja Cat and Megan Thee Stallion for an all-girl remix of 3435, the 2nd single from Ariana's 6th album, Positions. I've already mentioned the Queen of Features, Nicki Minaj, a few times here and there in this video, and if I were to list everyone that I wanted to mention, we'd be here all day. But there are a few that I just can't leave out. Nicki has collaborated with the Queen Madonna an astonishing 3 times, first appearing alongside MIA on the song Give Me All Your Lovin', which served as the lead single from Madonna's 2012 album MDNA. On that very same album, Nicki also appeared on the song I Don't Give a. Nicki would appear yet again on Madonna's very next album, 2015's Rebel Heart, providing a verse for the song Bitch I'm Madonna. The iconic Feeling Myself with Beyonce is one that I can't overlook as well, and this was almost immediately after Nicki had already hopped on the remix of Beyonce's Flawless. Beyonce is no stranger to linking up with the rap girlies, however, as she rather unexpectedly hopped on the Savage remix with Megan Thee Stallion in 2020. 2020 was a huge year for Megan. She had a Beyonce feature, and just 4 months later she would appear alongside Cardi B on the absolutely massive WAP. Receiving widespread critical acclaim from critics as well as widespread criticism from conservatives, it debuted atop the US Billboard Hot 100, becoming the first female rap collaboration to do so, and had the largest opening streaming week for a song in the US history. It gave Cardi B her 4th #1 single and Megan her 2nd in the US. Just a few short days after the aforementioned Savage remix, Nicki would hop on the Say So remix with Doja Cat. Just a year later, Doja and SZA would release Kiss Me More, the lead single from Doja's album Planet Her. The song was voted as one of the best songs of 2021 by various publications and nabbed both Doja and SZA their first ever Grammy Award. Doja would later appear on the remix of SZA's Kill Bill, the 5th single from SZA's SOS. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. There's just so many female collabs that I wanted to include, but I just tried to include some of my favorites and some of the most notable. But there's definitely room for me to make a part 2. If you really enjoyed this, please let me know. Be sure to like and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. And what are some of your favorite female collabs of all time? Did I miss some? Did I hit a lot of your favorites? Do you want to see a part 2? Let me know. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Wayne, and I hope to see you in the next video. I love you guys so much. Consideration, the opening track from Rihanna's 8th studio album, Anti, featured a then and not quite as well known SZA. I didn't like how I said that. Consideration, the opening track from Rihanna's 8th studio album, Anti, featured a then not as well known SZA. Let's try that one more time. Consideration. Consideration, the opening track from Rihanna's 8th studio album, Anti, featured a then night. I'm just cut this part out completely.